A United States senator just lost his military rank. Not for a crime overseas, not for misconduct decades ago, but for telling American troops to disobey the commander-in-chief. Senator Mark Kelly, former astronaut, retired Navy captain, has been hit with the consequences he never thought would come. Censured, stripped of rank, pay cut. And the Pentagon says this is only the beginning. So understand what happened here. Mark Kelly went on video and urged active duty service members to refuse what he called illegal orders from President Trump. That language is not rhetoric. It's in military law, it's a match next to gasoline. Encouraging troops to disobey civilian command is the definition of sedition. And for years, politicians did it without consequence. They flirted with mutiny. They played games with the chain of command. And nothing happened. Until now. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth issued a formal letter of censure. He ordered a review of Kelly's retired grade under federal statute. And the result is official. Kelly's been stripped of his captain rank and his retired pay has been cut. The Pentagon made clear that court-martial remains an option if this behavior continues. When a sitting senator urges troops to disobey the commander-in-chief, you realize just how fragile the chain of command has become. And when institutions are tested, you cannot afford to be caught unprepared. If the power went out tonight, if stores were empty tomorrow, would your family be ready? See, most people are not. And that's why I recommend My Patriot Supply. Save $100 right now in a 3-month emergency food kit. Over 2,000 calories a day for 90 days. Real meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks. Lasts up to 25 years, made in the USA. When the world gets uncertain, your family stays fed. Go to preparewithgary.com, get prepared, and get peace of mind. And there is more to the story. Investigators have been raising questions about Kelly's post-military business dealings. Reports allege a balloon surveillance company tied to Kelly received funding linked to the Chinese Communist Party. Combine that with public calls for troops to ignore orders, and suddenly it's not just about a video. Elon Musk publicly called Kelly a traitor, and Kelly acknowledged it. The Pentagon did not dismiss it. They acted, and this is what happens when words have consequences. Again, here it is. Sedition and treachery. Former astronaut and current Seditious Six member, Senator Mark Kelly, started a spy balloon company funded by the Chinese Communist Party. Real Robert writes he should be investigated for espionage and sedition and court-martialed for both. Here's the headline. Former astronaut Senator Mark Kelly started a spy balloon company funded by China.
Traveling at 60,000 feet.
Does this one compare?
CBS News now.
Does this one compare?
Well, the Chinese spy balloon was traveling at 60,000 feet. It was 200 feet tall, and it was carrying a payload of intelligence sensors and solar panels the size of 2 freight cars. And of course, the U.S. military shot it down when it reached the Atlantic Ocean. This small balloon is traveling at about 60 miles an hour, and NORAD says it will continue to monitor it to make sure it does not present a hazard to aviation. Nora?
Got it. So much smaller, but they are on alert. David Martin.
Remember that Chinese spy balloon? Yeah, who can forget that bizarre story? This is huge. The Department of War is officially demoting Mark Kelly's retirement rank, a serious punishment on his service record for his incendiary call to disobey the commander-in-chief. Matt Tardio has the details.
Grade. The Department of War just sent over quite a lengthy statement. It's up on my X page if you want to read it, all of it, because there's so much there. But ultimately, the Department of War has initiated retirement grade determination proceedings under which they can reduce his retirement grade, his retired grade, I should say. So that's his rank. Let's bring Matt back in, because obviously, Matt, you are a vet. You'll understand this more than myself. So break down this latest update on all of this. What does this mean for Mark Kelly?
It's a huge slap to the face. So when you are retired from the United States military, such as myself or Mark Kelly, you are still bound to the UCMJ. You are receiving pay from the United States government as a retired member of the United States military. Mark Kelly, most interestingly, ended up retiring, from what I've read so far, as a lieutenant general. And they, in the Department of War statement, ended up knocking him down to a captain. which is massive. That means they found him guilty of the things in which he was at least accused of. And so when we end up seeing these proceedings, we're gonna learn more on how he ended up getting there. But this is absolutely unprecedented. I'm trying to think of there is no other U.S. senator, that ended up getting tried for this, that ended up getting knocked down on this level. But what it does absolutely do is, I think this is huge for the Trump administration, for the Department of War, for everybody else. We've got laws on the books in this country, right? And these laws are not meant to be played with. They're not meant to be bent. They're most certainly not meant to be broken. And you most certainly should not try to undermine the commander-in-chief of the United States military. And that is particularly what Mark Kelly did. And that is exactly what they looked into and what they dug into. And a jury of his peers, a judge, everybody has agreed that Mark Kelly has done these things, and they saw fit to demote him. So he's no longer a lieutenant general, as they've noted very, very carefully in their post. It appears to me as if he is he's now a captain. So his pay is going to get docked and everything else, but more importantly, he's going to have a blemish on his service record now, to which we will see what they ended up finding him guilty of in order to downgrade him. But that's huge. That's massive.
Mark Kelly facing the consequences. 48 hours ago, Mark Kelly says Elon Musk called him a traitor. Oh, your feelings hurt?
Doesn't understand. Hey, I just got back from Ukraine, and Elon Musk called me a traitor.
What were you doing in Ukraine? Cashing paychecks?
Hey, I just got back from Ukraine, and Elon Musk called me a traitor. If Elon Musk doesn't understand what it means to stick up for American values and our principles, well, maybe he should just leave it to the people who do. I swore an oath to this nation when I was 22 years old to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Cry me a river, bro. Pentagon initiating the proceedings to demote U.S. Senator Kelly, a retired captain, over telling soldiers to refuse illegal orders. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth sent a censure letter to Mark Kelly, instructed Navy Secretary John Phelan to review his rank. Consequences were on the ballot November 5th, and this is exactly what I voted for. Chicago 1, Ray Rice.
The crime. And
as you understand it, what's happening?
well, they believe that it's possible that Captain Kelly, retired Captain Kelly, who is subject to the UCMJ under Article 2, committed a crime, and so they're going to investigate that. And regardless of whether that proves to be true or not, the fact is that this video undermined good order and discipline. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were essentially wink, wink, nod, nod, telling members of the military that they should reflexively doubt the legality of the commander-in-chief's orders. And that's where they crossed the line politically.
Okay. All right. A couple of things here. Jack Keane was with us yesterday, and we asked him about that whole thing about chain of command that you mentioned. All right. Here's Jack Keane on that.
These are irresponsible, reckless political leaders, and I normally don't go after political leaders in our country, but they deserve it now. They're absolutely undermining the military chain of command. And who do they think our soldiers are? They're insulting the intelligence of our soldiers and their moral commitment to serve the nation by making these outrageous statements.
Kelly, what do you make? As you understand it, what's happening?
Well, they believe that it's possible that
Let's keep going. Let's keep checking this out. Put Mark Kelly on bread and water rations. Real America's Voice with Jack Posobiec on Bannon's War Room.
Yes, sir. Mark Kelly. Pete Hegseth sending him a letter of censure. Is this start the process to recall him to active duty and court-martial him and put him in Leavenworth, sir?
Well, Steve, when I was at the Pentagon, I had the opportunity to question this from the press secretary, Kingsley Wilson, over at the Department of War, and specifically on Mark Kelly and this seditious video that came out. At that point, it was under review by Secretary Phelan over at the Navy Department. And now that the review has been done, it was submitted to the overall Secretary of War. He's come down and said, we're going to see, number one, it will be this administrative action, and number two, we're going to see reduction in rank and the opening of a broader investigation and proceedings against him. This is unprecedented. We have not ever seen something like this happen to a sitting United States senator. And potentially, yes, this could include, depending on the way they go with it, it could include the full return to active duty. It could potentially include a courts-martial. It could include all of it. And I say bust him down to a butter bar. Put him on bread and water rations.
Mark Kelly, Pete.
Bread and water. Let's keep going. We got more. Let's go to on notice. Fox News writes, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Kelly will receive a formal censure letter, ordered a review of the retired Navy captain's rank and pay for making seditious statements in a viral video confirmed by Fox. Color revolution. After urging troops to defy President Trump, Kelly was demoted by the Pentagon and stripped of his retired Navy rank. No court-martial, but the warning was unmistakable. And the color revolution now. Demoted. Department of War providing an update. Initiated retirement grade determination proceedings under 10 U.S.C. 1370F with reduction in his retired grade, resulting in a corresponding reduction in retirement pay. Eric Doherty, 24 hours ago. Traitorous Senator Mark Kelly was censured by Secretary of War. There will now be a reduction in his pay. Court-martial him now. You got some remarks here from Kelly?
But that is their response. You can certainly go to the judge, advocate generals, the lawyers, and have a discussion about it. If you don't have time, you just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
It puts a lot of burden on the troops to make a decision in real time.
It puts a tremendous amount of burden on officers in the military, but that is their responsibility. And they can figure out, a reasonable person can tell something that is legal and something that is illegal.
So would you refuse these specific orders to strike drug boats if you were still in uniform?
Well, the difference between the initial strike and what is being reported, as a second.
Okay, whatever. But let's get to the point here. Okay, this was not symbolic. This was a formal action with permanent consequences. Kelly's service record is now stained. His retired pay is reduced, and Secretary Hegseth made the message unmistakable. Every politician flirting with chaos, every activist trying to pull the military into rebellion just got the warning of a lifetime. This is what we voted for. This is the accountability we've been waiting for. You see, you can talk, you can protest, but you cannot command the troops. The chain of command still exists, and no title puts you above it. This is the line. Civilian control of the military is the foundation that keeps America from becoming a banana republic. When a senator encourages uniformed service members to decide for themselves which lawful orders to follow, that is not free speech. That is the opening move of instability. And for decades, politicians got away with it because no one had the courage to act. President Trump changed that. Secretary Hegseth enforced it. And now Mark Kelly, former astronaut, former Navy captain, current United States senator, has the distinction of being formally punished by the Pentagon for seditious statements. Not arrested, not silenced, held accountable. That's not tyranny, that's order. That is law. Here's my question for the chat. Should Mark Kelly face court-martial? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And do not forget to check out the Next News merch shop, linked in the description.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.